Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so today's free agency. We got about an hour away before we get information on who is signing where, although some stuff is leaking already. Deron Sharp went back to the Nets on a 2-year deal. So that's one guy the Lakers are not getting. It looks like Dorian is going to sign with the Rockets on a 4-year deal. I don't know about a sign and trade that might have Cam Whitmore and another player attached to it. I don't think that looks very likely given the information that just released. We might have ruined that. The chances of him signing with us and then being willing to be traded to the Rockets, I don't think he wants to help the Lakers if what Anthony Irwin is reporting is true. Essentially, what is being said is that Rob Pelinka was going behind Dorian's back and his representation's back, talking to other potential suitors for Dorian and saying that he had some type of knee issue. Try to lower the offers on the table for him so that we could retain him, and that somehow got back to Dorian Finney-Smith, and now he hates the Lakers. He hates Rob Pelinka. So the likelihood that he would be willing to do a sign and trade to help the Lakers get a player like Cam Whitmore in his absence, I think is out the door for that. The likelihood that he'd be willing to sign with us in an hour, I think, is out the door at this point. It looks like he's going to move forward on a 4-year deal with the Rockets. I can understand the desperation for Rob Pelinka to want to keep this guy because we literally gave up 3 second-round picks to acquire him just 6 months ago or whatever it was, 8 months ago. But truth be told, man, when you do things that way, it does really not rub people the right way. And you don't have, sometimes when people operate that way, they don't respect that they are building a reputation that makes it so that people won't be quiet for them. So in the event I'm trying to do all this, that, and behind somebody's back trying to say shady stuff, what I don't respect is that people are going to go back and tell him that. Or go back and tell his representation, like, yo, do you have a knee issue? Rob Pelinka run around telling everybody you have a knee issue. Like, run around, like, you know what I mean? Because they don't like Rob Pelinka for doing this type of thing. Now, if they liked Rob Pelinka, respected the integrity of a guy like Rob Pelinka in that regard, maybe they would not tell him, but they probably like Dorian and Dorian's representation more than they like Rob. Because Rob be doing stuff that, like this. And so, with Rob's reputation, for which we've all known about, he can be a shark at times. He should be the last person doing stuff like this, expecting it to not leak. And so, I was raised by a woman who taught me that my manners and my integrity will get me places my money won't. And foregoing that integrity and those manners in a space of desperation will not yield me the results that I'm hoping will save me. These are the principles she taught me. If you start trying your best to drown others because you are drowning, though in a situation like that you're desperate, you're not thinking. If your intention is to hurt others to save yourself, chances are you're not actually going to save yourself. And I just think that going about handling desperation in a shady manner does tend to yield the worst results for those who engage in that behavior. And while I don't know if this is true, I've been told by people I appreciate, people that I know, that Anthony Irwin is not a great source. That's what I've been told by people who I know are good sources. A person that I know has a line drive to things that have happened. I ain't gonna say he has a line drive to the Lakers because I don't know. But every time he says something happened, it happens. Every time. And it's been this way for years. That person told me don't listen to Anthony Irwin. Directly. Do not listen to him. He told me don't listen to him. So take that for whatever it's worth. But what I can tell you is this. If this turns out to be true, you're going to find that Rob Pelinka is going to get in some trouble for this, in my opinion, because we do have new ownership. And yet again, when we talk about bubble equity, we've let bubble equity disappear on Dorian Finney-Smith. You got 6 months of Dorian Finney-Smith services. You gave away 3 second-round picks. When you look at what we just got in the second round and how good our scouts are with second-round picks, that's really harmful. Those are players that potentially could be good things for us in the future that we just gave away to get a guy that we only got for 5 minutes, who I thought we probably shouldn't have been going after anyway. Now, when he got here, I was happy we had him. So there's a lot to assess. I guess that's one more example of why you need to see the fullness of a person's tenure to know if it worked out. Because when we traded for Dorian Finney-Smith, I was like okay with it. Before we traded for him, I was out on it. When he got here and started playing throughout the first month and a half, I was happy. So I'm like, man, I was wrong. And now we fast forward to where I am now, and I'm like, man, I was right in the beginning to not have even wanted to trade for this dude. So the fullness of it is like, it depends on when you ask me, was this a good decision? But as of the 30th of June, which today is, if he signs with the Rockets, which it looks like he's going to do, that was a terrible decision. You shouldn't have traded for him, just like I said in the first damn place. He's old, he was expiring, and he was going to probably want a long deal. And none of that made any sense for the Lakers, given the fact that we don't need to be getting older. Now, and he didn't play well in the playoffs, so I'm not too upset to see him leave. But that he's leaving on a sour note, if this story is true, makes it so that now we're out of the bubble equity that could have came with a potential sign and trade, which is going to net us an extremely important piece for which we passed up on in the draft in Cam Whitmore. From what I understand, Cam Whitmore, the Rockets are just going to pivot and go toward other suitors who potentially want Cam Whitmore. I heard the Nuggets potentially want Cam Whitmore, and the Chicago Bulls want Cam Whitmore. Now, if I'm Cam Whitmore, I probably would love to play for the Nuggets because you got Jokic getting you lobs. But I'd also love to play with the Lakers because I got Bron and Luka getting me lobs. So he's going to get, the Nuggets are a very shallow basketball team, so I could totally see them being the team that lands him. They really need the bench help. They really need just a boost in overall talent and athleticism. He makes them extremely more dangerous. That's a piece we need. We definitely don't want him going to the ops. We need him. And if this crap is true and it keeps the Rockets and Dorian from wanting to do anything to help the Lakers, which I'd imagine it would, that's more bubble equity, more actual equity, not even bubble equity, actual equity that we are out on based on decisions made by Rob Pelinka. Rob gonna have to understand, bro, you're costing us with some of these decisions, these choices, bro. You are costing us. You understand what I'm saying? It's costing us, bro. 3 second-round picks for a 32-year-old power forward who's expiring. Fast forward to where we are right now, and it wasn't a good decision, bro. It looked like it could have been a good decision if we re-signed him, but again, the likelihood that he was going to want to re-sign for something more than what we were going to ask, we're going to give him, was pretty damn high. So on the day we made the trade, I would have said the likelihood of us trading these 3 second-round picks for basically 6 months of Dorian was pretty high. That's what I was thinking then. Like, damn high that you only gonna have this guy for 5 minutes. And got ousted in the first round. 5 games, he didn't play well. So I don't know, man. I just look and I say, okay, just add this to more bubble equity that Rob Pelinka's choices cost us, man. More stuff that could be represented in tradable equity and players on the bench that are good that we don't have. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm the guy that usually wants to give Rob a chance. I actually like some of the stuff that Rob does. I like how Rob has been patient in this market, despite everybody giving him hell for it last summer. I thought he handled that as well as any GM I'd want on my team. And because of his patience and not giving up our picks and stuff like that, we had the things that we needed to get the big fish. We got the big fish. Rob's done what I want him to do in that area. I ain't gonna kill Rob for everything he's done. But like these little transactions, we want to be better around the margins. You can't trade away 3 second-round picks for 6 months of Dorian Finney-Smith, bro. You can't do it. You can't fumble the re-signing of Dorian Finney-Smith, or at least the ability to sign and trade, by doing stuff that's going to make people want to slap you. You can't, no, bro. It gets harder and harder to defend Rob Pelinka, man. It gets harder and harder to defend him when stories like this drop. And they do. This is not the first time we've seen something that people, you know what I'm saying? This ain't the first time. If you're going to do stuff like that, bro, you cannot leave room for it to leak. And there's no way to do stuff like that without leaving room for it to leak. So what does that equal? You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't run around telling the people who want to sign this guy that he has a knee injury that he doesn't have. You don't do that. You don't do that because people don't respect people who do that, and they snitch on people who do that. And they use it in their own advantage. Because everybody has leverage they're trying to obtain, and you showing poor character on the Laker side of things, behind the Laker paywall, of whom everybody jealous of any damn way. They hate us just off the strength of who we are and what we can do with TV money and all that. You know damn well, if we got somebody that people don't like behind our paywall making decisions for us, doing shady stuff, you best believe people are going to see it in their best interest to double cross that person. It's just, it is what it is. You do not GM the Sacramento Kings. If you GM the Sacramento Kings, people wouldn't have a target on your back the same way. You kind of get away with certain things like that because people don't already hate you off the strength of the company you represent. But they hate us without you. So if you're going to do some weird stuff, they definitely going to double cross us. It's just the nature of being a Laker GM. You got to do things with a bit more integrity. You have to. Because we already got a hate target on our back just off the strength of the 17 championships and the big market and the history with all these great players that none of these people could ever beat or sign. They hate us anyway, man. It just is what it is. Got a league full of people that can't stand us because we better than them, literally. Just better, all of them. And so that's really what it comes down to, man. You got to handle yourself with a bit more class as it pertains to this type of stuff, bro. Because at the end of the day, if you didn't do it, the worst case scenario was you were going to lose this guy in free agency to a 4-year deal to the Rockets. Well, you did that. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose this guy to free agency to a 4-year deal in the Rockets and have a worse reputation for how you handle it. It was going to happen anyway. So that's what I got to say if that story's true. If not, then move on. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Putting this out there in the ethos is only relevant if the story's true. If the story isn't true, then it isn't relevant. And so that's what I have to say. But I believe the story, man. I do. I believe it because Rob has done stuff like this before. It just is what it is, man. So we move on. DeAndre Ayton. Hopefully he signs with the Lakers. The thing about DeAndre Ayton is I'm not expecting to be pleased with DeAndre Ayton. I don't have the greatest scope on DeAndre Ayton as a player. I just know how desperate I am to get a center, and he's the best one on the market, so I'm happy to bring him in. But do I think that DeAndre Ayton's going to come in and make me happy? No. He's going to come in. He's going to be himself. I'm going to be angry with him and want him traded by the deadline. That's what I expect. DeAndre Ayton disappoints everywhere he goes, man, and that's the truth. Now, that doesn't mean that we can do better on the market. We cannot. But, like, to think he's going to come in and just have a resurgence, I think that person's already established who he is in the league. Now, if he comes in and changes his stripes, then we'll be happy to see it. But I'm not poised to see him come out and be the guy he was supposed to be drafted to be. Hell no. I expect him to trot up the floor slowly, went on a fast break defensive situation transition. I expect for him to have games where he's got 16 and 10. I expect for him to have games where he has 7 and 7 and didn't give me anything at all, because that's who he's shown me to be. And so my approach to DeAndre Ayton is I'm signing him because I don't have no other choices. And because he's the best asset. He's the best asset on the market. But I'm not confused to think we're picking up the answer to our center position long term. No, he's a trade piece. He's a piece that I'm looking forward to moving if he does what he's been doing. Now, we will give him the rope to probably start. Obviously, I expect him to start. And if he plays better, if he goes into his best, have his best season with us, with ample opportunity to do so, then hey, man, he's impressed us. Let's keep him around. But if he's been who he's been, then I want to move this dude probably by the trade deadline. And I'm just being real. The bar for him is low. The standard, the expectations for him is low. That may be a good thing because he could probably exceed my expectations since they're in the hell, basically. I don't expect nothing out of DeAndre Ayton but for him to fill a need, which is a center position for which we don't have. And he is a drastic upgrade. Even if he's himself and all the different things that is disappointed, he is a drastic upgrade from Jackson Hayes and Alex Len. On his very worst day, he's better than both of those people combined. Just being honest. And so that's what I feel about that. I would be happy to bring him in, but I'm poised for him to piss me off, and I know I'm going to want to trade him. And I already think that before we even sign him. And I still sign him without any prejudice because significant upgrade from everything we got. And the best center on the market. And so that's what I got to say, Ayton. You coming in, bro, I don't expect nothing. But if you do something, I'm going to give you applause. I'm going to thank you for playing hard and getting us where we're going. But if you come in slacking off, I expect you to. And I won't even blink because I already know that's who you've been. So that's what he needs to understand. I don't have expectations. You didn't establish yourself in two different places as a guy that is not going to do too much. And so if you want to change that, you got to change that by putting in effort and challenging yourself each and every day to be better than you've been in both Phoenix and Portland. Otherwise, you are who you are, and I'm looking forward to moving you as soon as I sign you. I ain't one to lie. When it comes to stuff like this, I ain't one to lie. I ain't doing no sly, shady, nothing. I'm telling you right here in the camera. These are my expectations. These are my intentions if you meet those expectations. So that's how I feel about things. I want everybody to know where I stand on that. Anyway, from what I understand, according to Anthony Irwin, who may or may not be the greatest source, we also have a line drive on Brook Lopez. I have the same expectations for Brook Lopez, but for different reasons. Brook Lopez is a bit older. Brook Lopez is a proven champion. In fact, these are the two centers who went up against each other in that championship back 6 years ago, or whatever it was, when the Bucks won the championship. And we would be adding both of the centers on each side. That would be pretty interesting to see them collide in practice every day. But I have lowered expectation for Brook, even though Brook has done some of the more amazing things in this league as it pertains to reinventing himself to a three-point shooter after playing for the Nets and making all-star teams and making hundreds of millions of dollars. Somehow he, like, overnight turned into one of the best three-point shooters at the center position. And I haven't forgotten how well he shot the ball for the Lakers when he played for us that one single season. He practically didn't miss from behind the arc. It was actually amazing to watch. And then to see him age well, to say that even now he still has fantasy relevance when given proper minutes. And so he continues to, in some ways, like LeBron James, defy father time. He's not as old as LeBron. I think he's probably about 36, but he still manages to be relevant even now. And so my expectations are lower based on his age and just not really knowing what to expect from him now. When we had him, he was probably like 30 years old. Many years have passed. What can I get from him going forward? Is he still going to be who he's been, or is this the beginning of the official fall off? I'm not really sure, but I'm setting the bar very low as it pertains to expectations. And if he exceeds them, that wouldn't necessarily surprise me because he does that. That's what he's been doing. So I feel great about Brook Lopez if we can get him on a short deal. I ain't giving him no 4-year deal, nothing like that. But if we can sign him for a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, 1-and-1 team option, not player option, then I think we feel great. No more player options, please. No more. I don't give a damn who we sign. Nobody get a player option. Not if I have a choice. So yeah, these are the type of things that come to mind. Bruce Brown, I heard his name. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I heard his name. But I think it's almost a set in stone thing that Nickeil signs with Atlanta, which boosters their perimeter defense to a really phenomenal place. I'm not certain Atlanta's not going to be the second or third best Eastern Conference team next year. I think Nas got it right. That's a sound decision to go with that team right now because they look like they're on the rise in a different kind of way. Because the East has gotten dry and they're loading up on win-now talent and young assets. They're making good decisions in Atlanta for the first time, maybe ever. And so this might be the best Atlanta team we've seen since Al Horford and Millsap and all them guys were winning games in the Eastern Conference at a high level. Where they win like 60-something games one year or something like that, almost 70 games. They didn't get a championship as we knew they wouldn't because Bron knocked them off as we knew he would. But that's about as good as Atlanta team I've ever seen. And I think they have a chance of being that good this year, potentially. Bringing in Porzingis, Okongwu is getting a bigger role. Dyson Daniels is back. Trae Young healthy. Now they're gonna get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think they got a chance of being a really good team, a really good team, better than anybody's actually expecting. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I truly wouldn't be surprised if they were in the Eastern Conference Finals next year, based on what it is they're putting together, especially if they're able to add a very good role player like Nah. So hopefully he chooses the Lakers, but I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that he chooses the Hawks. What else? Bruce Brown, like I said, I already said his name, I believe. Chris Paul's name I've been hearing. I think he probably goes to the Clippers. Go back and retire there. I think that's what he's going to do. Who else? I've been hearing some names, man. Nicholas Batum, I think he'd probably go back to the Clippers too. He's been having a lot of good tenures with the Clippers. I don't think he leaves there, but I do think he would be a good addition to a lot of teams, especially a team like us who's losing Dorian. Bringing in Nick Batum would help a lot. I've given up on Nick Batum. For the last 6 years, I've been saying he's old, and every year he plays great. So at this point, it's like, all right, I'm done. He's just a guy defying father time. He's probably going to play well wherever he goes. So that's what I think of Nick Batum. I'm sick of getting on this camera saying he's done and he proceeds to have a good season. I'm done doing that. Who else, man? There's a lot of names out there, man. But at the end of the day, none of them are of a higher cachet. So you really want to snatch Ayton because he's probably the best asset in the free agency pool. And obviously we need a center, although we'll probably end up with two. I think the Lakers will end up with two centers. Luke Cornett is another center name that I'd love to get if we strike out on Brook Lopez. If we strike out on Ayton, I think Luke Cornett should be the guy we go after for certain. Although I could totally see somebody going to Charlotte. I could see somebody potentially going up to Golden State. Although they do have Quentin Post going forward with their center position, I think they're going to try to give him a bigger role going forward. Yeah, man, these are the names I've been hearing about. And like I said, it's kind of a dry free agent pool, but the Lakers are set up really nicely to get something this year and next year. Next year, we have a lot of expiring contracts coming off our books. 2026 is going to be a big year. LeBron James potentially going to be exiting. I know there's a lot of talk about LeBron and, interpreting what is being said on his behalf. I just took it as he was letting us know that he gets it. That's what I took it as. Not him saying that you better hurry up and get some players or I'm leaving. No, this is the understanding that I'm signing with a team that likely can't put around me what I need and probably would be in their best interest to trade me at the trade deadline to capture value for me. And I'm open-minded to know that the Lakers probably going to have to make some hard decisions on my behalf. That's how I took it. I think a lot of the content creators for Laker Nations and different people are taking it a different way, and maybe I'm just reading into the words wrong. But I didn't take it as him putting pressure on us to do something stupid, like trading away first-round picks and stuff like that. I took it as him saying he understands we can't do that. He would love for us to be able to. He wants to win. He wants to win now, but he also understands the balance between, doing what you need to do for your future in our situation and ultimately trying to go after it. That's how I took it. So all this talk about him putting pressure on the Lakers, I ain't take it that way. I think he left the room for the Lakers to interpret it that way, and if they want to do something like that, I'm sure he appreciated his short window of time from which to play. But as far as I'm concerned, I took it as him understanding, the Lakers probably not in their best interest to do this. I'm opting in with the understanding that that's the case. And I think the main reason why he didn't take less money is because he would have had to restructure his contract, and it would have taken the no-trade clause off of the contract in doing so. So opting in assures that he has a no-trade clause so that we don't send him to the highest bidder, which is in our best interest to do. He end up playing for the Bucks or the Bucks don't have nothing, but end up playing for a team he doesn't want to go to. So if he would have tried to take a lesser amount, it restructures the deal and probably because I'm not really certain, but I think it would likely remove the trade clause, the no trade clause from his contract. It's not something he can afford to do, especially if he understands, which I think is why that statement was written up. He understands what the Lakers are trying to do. He understands what the Lakers have to do. And so in opting into that contract, this is what his statement is. That, I get it. We'll probably have to negotiate something that does send me somewhere else at some point. But if you guys are open to continuing to mortgage your future, I'm ready to win. I'm happy here. That's how I took it. So it's a balance. I call me crazy, but I think people follow me. And so a lot of the conversations I've been having into this camera, I feel like people have been responding to what I've been saying, which is, yo, we need to trade you, dog. I need to capture value and capture equity. And I don't know if he understands this or not. And his people understand this. Essentially what I'm taking is he does understand. People following me? I don't know. Are they not? I don't think they're not. I'm just being honest. So that's my point of view. I almost took it as if he was responding to me. And all the many conversations we had about trading him, and I don't know if he understands this stuff or not, as I speak in circles. So that's really what it is. They're essentially telling all of us at Laker Nation that yes, they do understand what the Lakers need to do, and yes, they are on board with us. And I don't think we have to worry about him going anywhere unless it's in our best interest to move him and we come to an amicable agreement that that's the only path forward. I think how we start the season will determine that. I think if the Lakers drop 10 games straight to start the season and we really pour and we start having, Luka goes down with an injury or something like that, I think LeBron's gone. I think that both sides will agree that it's in our best interest to move him somewhere where he can win. If the Lakers start off hot and we look like we're going to be a playoff team and everything is going well, by the trade deadline, I think we'll probably skip an opportunity to trade him. I think that's what it determines by how well the Lakers look to start the season. That's what I think. And so this day is extremely crucial to that because it will determine whether or not we'll have the assets to look good. So that's really what it comes down to. I expect the Lakers to sign a couple centers, maybe get lucky and get a Bruce Brown or something like that and just call it an offseason. But what I don't want to do is overpay for anything. I don't want the Lakers to give out, like Dorian Finney-Smith, if the only way to keep him was to give him a 4-year deal, he can bounce. I'm cool, bro. I would have never gone for that. Not at your age, not based on what I saw in the playoffs. In the regular season, you were cool, but you're starting to age, brother. Ain't no way in hell I'm giving you that type of security. I understand how important of a piece he is, this, that, and the third. All of that's wonderful. I don't care. You're not getting a long deal at that age. Not when I'm building around Luka the Don. No, I'm not doing that. But I wouldn't have insulted him out the door either. Definitely wouldn't do that. So, yeah, that's really what it is, man. I want the Lakers to find a way to get Cam Whitmore, though. I think that's an extremely important piece to the building of our franchise. I thought that when we passed up on him in the draft, and I think it now. So if we can find a way to get that player, I think it's important. He's a lob threat. He's a defensive monster. He's somebody who's going to fit right next to Abdul Thero like crazy because they're both going to be hounds and more athletic than everyone. And ultimately video game players that are going to jump out the gym every single night. If we could pair them together and put them in the same backcourt, it's not really. The same second unit is what I'm trying to say. What you'll find is that we're going to be more athletic, more strong, and ultimately more energetic than 9 out of 10 teams out there. That's what I think. Abdul Thero's one piece, Cam Whitmore's the other one. You put them both together, and suddenly teams got problems. They got to hurry up and get their star back in the game. That's what that tells them. Hurry up and get them back in the game or we're going to lose our lead. Hurry up and get them back in the game, but it's going to be down by 10. That's what Abdul Thero and Cam Whitmore together should likely do. So I'm just telling people right now, there's no way I'm walking away from this offseason without giving myself the best chance to get Cam Whitmore one way or another. I'm just being honest with you. So that's what I really want. Obviously, we need to get a center, and so that's the number one thing. But all these other players, this and that, no. Give me the young player, can jump out the gym, get like 7 steals in one game. Give me him, and we'll figure everything else out. So yeah, that's how I feel, man. I want pieces that can be retraded. That's really where I'm at. All of this stuff, if we're bringing it to ourselves to fit, but when we try to move it, it can't be moved. I don't think that's the best thing for the Lakers. I want stuff that if I want to keep it, I can keep it. If I want to move it, somebody actually take it from me. So that's my hope for this thing, man. I hope all the stuff that's been said about Rob Pelinka and this Dorian Finney crap isn't true. I hope it isn't true, man. And that's my point of view on that. So yeah, man, we're about 30 minutes away from free agency. Of course, I'll be giving y'all content on that. But for now, that's pretty much what I got to say. I appreciate everybody for watching BDL 44.